Okay, now we're going to pick up where we left off in the previous lesson with my slow jam solo over the two-chord vamp E minor 7 to A7 that you've heard in the Pink Floyd song Breathe, and also similar to that used by Stevie Ray Vaughan in the instrumental song Riviera Paradise. And if you recall from the previous lesson, I was doing a lot of like slow, sexy bends, David Gilmour style, starting down in the low register, working my way up the neck, and then adding some little slinky hammer-on pull-off slide things, like kind of going for a Van Halen, like a, juicy, slinky type of vibe. And then I ended up with this high bend lick, and now I'm going to pick up where we left off. This is bar 13, and it goes into some fast double or triple time phrases because we're at a slow tempo, we're at 60 beats per minute. So I'm going to be playing some 30-second note lines, and then we'll break it down for you and show you how it got influenced and where it's heading. Here we go. Okay, just to reiterate, the chords I'm playing over are E minor 7 for 1 bar, and then A7 for 1 bar. So it's that slow feel, laid back, 60 beats per minute. It's like this: 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, and that's it, nice and laid back. Okay, so here's the solo. Okay, so picking up at the end of bar 12 from the previous segment here, we got this nice high, like Stevie Ray Vaughan / Albert King bend with a rake and a fierce vibrato on an E note. It's not a bend vibrato, it's just a regular on an unbent note, but you're giving a nice wide berth. And that little curl, kind of sassy, pushing the string up a quarter tone. And then I launch into this 30-second note run based on the E blues scale. And I go. Okay, I'm also adding another chromatic note. Okay, the E blues scale in this position would be. But I'm starting on the 14th fret here, going. Adding the major 7th, D sharp between D, the flat 7th, and E, the root. So that's kind of like, in a different context, the beginning of Manic Depression by Jimi Hendrix. Where he's going, right? So that's based on the A blues scale. He's going A blues scale, but he's going 4 sharp 4 5 or flat 5 4 flat 5 5 flat 7 natural 7 1. I'm doing a similar thing here. 4 sharp 4 5 flat 7 natural 7 1. Kind of roll across. I'm adding a couple of hammer-ons in there, or maybe a pull-off too, to make it just kind of smoothen out the line a little bit. How do I pick on it? I think I downstroke. Okay, and then in bar 14, I proudly go into this Jimmy Page style like blues burst. Boy, talk about getting a lot of mileage out of a handful of notes. So I do this little quick double pull-off. Okay, thick E blues scale. And then I'm just playing around with the notes A, E, and G, but in such a way that the rhythm, it creates a hemiola effect. It's a rhythmic phrase that every time it's repeated, the high note pops on a different part of the beat, so it's. So 3, 4. That was inspired by Page's soloing on some classic Zeppelin slow jams like Since I've Been Loving You and No Quarter. You know, the way they would play it live, like it's featured on the song Remains the Same. And also in other songs, like the live Daisy Confused, where Jimmy would just go off at the slow tempo, and John Bonham would kind of pick up on that and kind of play all these like triple time rolls and everything, you know, but all keeping that slow jam beat going. We're using a lot of pull-offs there. Then bar 15, I go into this kind of cascading descending lick through E minor pentatonic. You hear that is E minor pentatonic, right? But played in this next position. And whenever I pause on the 16th note, I add a little vibrato. I may have slurred it when I was doing it fast, using a pull-off. Then bar 16, over the A7 chord, I segue into this nice rolling like Dickie Betts style run. That's based on the A major blues scale. You know, you hear about the blues scale. That's technically called the minor blues scale. Like, that's E blues scale, technically formally known as the E minor blues scale. And if you go up 2 frets, you've heard that sound before. That's F sharp minor blues scale. But if you hear A as the root, if you play off of A, you get. So it's A, B, C, C sharp, E, F sharp, A, root second, sharp second or flat 3, natural 3, 5, 6, 1. It's like the happy country bluesy sound. So coming out of this lick, okay, using chromatic passing tone to target that C sharp note. Remember, that's a third of A7. And remember, you're still targeting important chord tones. I'm adding another chromatic passing tone, F, between E and F sharp. So the scale is, but I'm going, adding that extra note. It's almost like to have it like a super blues scale, right, with another chromatic note. Then straight down, I guess it would be A major pentatonic. And then add that chromatic passing tone again. And then kind of keep rolling across the strings. There's an interesting, right? The flat 9 or flat 2, but it works. That's pretty cool. Nice little slab with the ring finger. Nice 6 interval up to A to acknowledge the A chord. And then another vibrato on the E root note to, is to acknowledge the E minor 7 chord. And here, instead of going, remember previously I kind of varied a little bit. So you have an element of familiarity with a phrase played previously, but with a slight twist on it. And there's a little curl. Now here on beat 3 of bar 17, following another little pause, little phrasing breath or pause, I launch into this heavily chromatic line. This is a Steve Morse inspired lick. I'm basing it around the E minor pentatonic blues box. The pentatonic, but I'm going. Okay, so I'm starting on the 9th. And then on all like the downbeats, or I guess at least on the 8th note parts of the beat, I'm hitting a chord tone. So you hear that, there's the 9th, E minor 9, there's the root, there's the 5th. Using upper and lower neighbors, we talked about that earlier. As I've mentioned before, I got this method where sometimes it just works so much better to start an upstroke on a long alternate picking line. Why? Because it makes the string crosses so much better, That's what's called outside the strings picking. Imagine if I started on a downstroke, I go, and I have this. That very arduous, unfriendly move where the pick has to change direction. So I start an upstroke. Again, you got to know the string cross. It's so much better outside. Think of it as picking the strings from the outside. Okay, then over the A chord in bar 18. So that's a neat little chromatic thing. It's not 100% chromatic, you know, I'm not just playing straight chromatic. There's a couple of whole steps in there, like between D and E. So, but on the downbeat of the A7 chord in bar 18, I'm going, okay, you hear a little walk up from the 9th. That's the 7th, right? Again, targeting chord tones, and then sweet, hit the 3rd, right? That's the sweetest of all chord tones. Create that nice 10th interval with the bass note. So, started out in 12th position. Yeah, if I did that on a downstroke, it would be like guitared. It'd be like, I couldn't even do it. Let me try it. I want to go back to the way I'm doing it, which is to start an upstroke. Yeah, it flows. Not exactly a walk in the park, easy, but much easier. So. At least I'm not fighting. I'm not trying to go again, you know, change direction by going inside the strings. Okay, and then another little pause, and this is our final lick, going to bar 19. Kind of shift gears here, going for a E minor 9 sound. I'm thinking more along like the lines of Riviera Paradise, the Stevie Ray Vaughan tune. You know, the chords, the keyboard plays, Reese Winans plays E minor 9 to A13. So I go. Walking down to the 3rd. That's an E minor 9 arpeggio, which is basically G major 7th. Right? But you play it over E bass note, you get. That makes it G minor, E minor 11. A G major 9 arpeggio. Play it over G, sounds like G major 9. You play it over an E bass note, you get. Get that sweep in there, get that kind of Coltrane type effect. Emphasize the 9th there. Okay, there's a little bit of a position shift there. Hammer-on from the middle finger to the pinky. And that's where the hand, index finger has to kind of shift up the bar there. What about this D sharp note? I was just saying E minor 9 is G, is E, G, B, D, F sharp. That's the major 7th. That, in my mind, I'm alluding to playing this chord, B7 sharp 5. So it's like I'm going, totally jazzy, right? It's something Michael Brecker might play. A little shake on there, and then I repeat it, but not exactly on the same beat, where that G note falls in the downbeat. I kind of offset the rhythm, so it's wait, then that note falls in the beat. Then I do a walk down, target the 3rd of A once again, with a little decorative slide, and then, you know, just complete the arpeggio. Outline the chord, and then wind down the solo, you know, like a workout, when there's aerobics workouts, they tell you to cool down at the end, right? Simple, you know, rock cliche, something David Gilmour would play with a huge epic tone. So. Slowing down. ending right where I started, open position. A little story started down here with this bends, near, near, and worked way up to here, all that stuff, and then back down and just good night, E minor 7.